What's up everyone and welcome back to the Draft Dynasty channel. Today we have another scouting report. Jacob Perreault, it's a prospect that I like quite a bit. If you look over here, he's ranked around mid to late first round, and I'm definitely gonna be higher than most people. I think he's really good and maybe a little bit underrated right now. Let's take a look at his profile. So he just turned 18 a couple of weeks ago, so he's fairly young, 5'11" and 198 pounds, so he's pretty big, definitely bigger than the average for the draft this year. If we take a look at his stat, one thing that is interesting, he scored 30 goals last year, pretty good for a draft -1. And this year, again, 39 goals, but 70 points. Another pretty good year in terms of production. One thing we're going to take a look later, -34. So he was playing on a pretty bad team. I think they had a stretch where they lost 17 games out of 18 during the middle of the year. They were able, though, to score a lot of goals. So they were scoring, but they were awful defensively. So maybe that had an impact on him. But he also struggled defensively. We're going to touch on that later. Also, one more thing, and this got me feeling pretty old. His dad was one of my favorite player when I was growing up. He was playing with my hometown team, the Montreal Canadiens, and he was similar to me. Not the fastest guy around, good on face-off, good defensively, and he was able to produce. I also have the same first names for that reason. He was one of my favorite players growing up, and if he was a better skater, I think he could have been an all-star player. If he had the skating like his son, if he was able to skate like his son, I really think he could have been a pretty solid all-star player in the NHL. He still managed to score more than 500 points in the NHL, so I think he was a pretty underrated player. And getting back to Jacob Perreault, he was not invited at the Alinka Gretzky Cup earlier in the year, and I think this was really odd. I'm not sure why they didn't invite him. On talent alone, he was for sure better than a lot of players in that list. I'm not gonna name drop any player in here, but yeah, I could see him being a lot better than at least 4 or 5 guy in this list. Before we start the footage, let's take a quick look at a few interesting stats. A little disclaimer, I have removed a few players that are not really relevant for the draft. First of all, with Jacob Perreault, 15 goals on the power play. He's a goal scorer, and on the power play, very good, 29 point total. So this is excellent. Another thing he's good at, shot on goal per 20 minutes. He's up there with the best in the draft, generating a lot of shot, and he has a pretty good one. And the final thing that I really like about him, it's 90% of his point or primary point. If you rank here, this is the highest for all the forward in the draft. Now the question is, how do we interpret that statistic? First of all, of course, goal scorer are usually going to do better in that category because a goal is a primary point, but not all points are equal. So a primary pass usually in a vacuum is worth more than a secondary assist. But from what I've seen in the game that I've watched, he's really good at distributing the puck in high danger area. So he's an underrated playmaker. I've got a category for that later in the video, but a lot of the time he's doing the tougher pass, harder pass in high danger area. So of course, if you're consistent with those passes, you're gonna get more primary point. For an example here, if we rank here, Jake Neighbor had the exact same amount of point, but he had a lot of secondary assists. Even if they have the same amount of point, I'm gonna value way more the point of Jacob Perreault just because he had more primary assists. And the last thing that I wanted to talk about, it's of course the goal against. I'm gonna rank that again. So he got scored the most goal against at even strength. It's a problem for sure because you know, the name of the game is to score more goals than the other team, and right now he's not doing that when he's on the ice at 5-on-5. Of course, it matters the team he was playing on. It was a bad team overall defensively. They were struggling, but I also have a category on that later in the video where I'm gonna show you that he struggled in his zone. Enough with the introduction, let's jump into the footage, and I'm gonna start as usual with the thing I like the most about his game, and with him it's gonna be the toolbox. This is a term that we hear pretty often. Basically what it means, it's all the individual abilities are all very good. So if you take the skating, the shot, the stick handling, physicality, for him it's all either very good or elite. And this is the beautiful thing with him, all the skills are elite or high-end, so there's nothing really that he needs to work on. And with other prospects, usually they're gonna have at least one thing that they need to work on and focus and try to improve. But with him, everything is already at a high level, so there's nothing that he needs to work on that much except maybe mentally or the intensity, consistency. So it's more in his head for him, the thing that he needs to work on to kind of put everything together. For the next clip, I'm gonna try something new. So instead of talking over the clip, I'm just gonna roll with some music in the background. So you're gonna be looking at the goals, his shot, his skating, and his stick handling. So all the tools that I was talking about that are elite, and it's pretty self-explanatory. I don't really need to talk over that. You're gonna be able to notice that his skills are pretty high-end. Alright, I am back. So let me know in the comment below if you like that little format. I'm probably not gonna do that all the time, but since I had a lot of good clip on him, I decided to do a little highlight video. And for his skill, if I had to put them in order of the best, I would say the shot is probably the best because there's a lot of good snipe in there. And he's a pretty big guy, and you can tell when he shoot, there's a lot of power. And a lot of the time, he's shooting with weird angle, but it seems like his shot is always dangerous. So he's the type of shooter similar to Cole Caulfield. Sometimes he's taking random shot from weird angle that you're saying, why are you shooting from there? And he ends up finding the little opening and score from weird angle. So you can never really count him out. And he also has a really good one-timer on the power play. There's a lot of power. He has a quick release as well. So overall, I think he's a player that even at the next level in the NHL, he's gonna be able to score. For the other skills, I would say second would be his skating. I think for his size, he has the explosion. He's strong on his feet, good top speed, good agility. So I would put skating second and his stick handling third. For the NHL player comparison, I'm gonna compare him with two very good players. He's obviously not on that level, and I'm not sure if he's gonna be that good. But first, I'm gonna go with Jack Eichel and Andrei Svechnikov, and he's also remind me a little bit of a younger player, Owen Tippett. I see some similarity in his game with all those three players. Of course, it's hard to say if he's gonna be on that level. Probably not, especially not Eichel and Svechnikov. But I think he could be a very good goal scorer in the NHL. Let's get back to the footage. I'm not sure if you noticed, but I'm starting to show some of his playmaking ability, and this right there might be the most underrated thing about his game. So a lot of people knows that he's a very good scorer, he's got a good shot, but he's actually a very, very good playmaker. Some of the passes that I saw him made during the year are very creative first, but hard pass. He's someone that is able to make the hard pass, the type of pass that leads to a goal. That's why earlier in the video we saw he had such a high amount of primary points, because he's able to make those hard pass. I think he was really unlucky this year, because with the amount of clip that I was able to get during the game that I've watched, I was really shocked with the amount of good passes he was able to make, but a lot of them were not resulting in goals. So maybe it's because he was not playing with the best player around. We have to keep in mind that there's a lot of variance and luck involved in the stat, and overall I just feel like he was really unlucky throughout the year. He also was doing extremely well with the zone entry, zone exit, just carrying the puck out of the zone and doing the zone entry, especially for a winger, and usually this translates into a lot of assists. On top of that, Sarnia Sting had a very weak group of defensemen. I think their two best defensemen finished the year with 29 and 18 points. So this is a very low production from defensemen, and it makes it harder to produce offensively when you don't have the help from your offensive defenseman. I guess what I'm trying to say is that he's a little bit better than what the stats are indicating right now, just with the sheer amount of high quality passes he made in high danger area and with player not able to finish. And with his playmaking, there's a couple of things that I think he's doing extremely well, and not many people are doing that. And on this clip, it's a very good example. So first, he's gonna bait the defenseman on him, but since the defenseman is doing a very good job blocking the passing lane, he's gonna do a kind of a spinorama pass. And Trevor Zegras was excellent at that last year, but there's not many players that are using that move, but you can really abuse that. I think the number one reason why it's good to have this in your arsenal, first, when you're in a tight space, tight area in the other zone, sometimes you're just not gonna have the passing lane, so it's good to do that simply to create one. And the other thing is that it's not that easy for the defenseman to block that pass. Most of the time, they're not gonna react fast enough to block your pass, so it might look like a super hard pass, but if you practice it, it's something that you can do consistently.
Lasting goal. Here comes Perreault. Tucker lost his stick out in front. Cameron played around the boards. Storm. Hosh now broken up. Perreault makes a move trying to get to the front of the net. Now another chance. They score.
This afternoon, you see a nice move by Perreault to fend off the defender, gets it in front to the captain.
So I think when you put it all together, his shot and scoring ability, his skating, playmaking, his stick handling, his size, it's a very hard package to come by. Usually this type of talent is gonna go top 10 in a draft. For some reason, he's ranked around 15 or 20 this year. I don't know why, because everything is there for him to be an elite player, I think. And if he's still available after the top 20, I think he's a guy that I would be looking to trade up for and try to get him. After top 20, you get him him at a really good discount price, and it's hard to find a guy with that much upside and talent that range. Let's finish the video with the defensive side of the game, where it's a little bit of a problem. We saw earlier in the video that he got scored a ton at 5-on-5. His team was really poor defensively overall. They were getting scored a ton, but also himself, he was not playing well enough. Like most young player in this draft, it's similar with Jacob Perreault. It's the same problem. It's a lack of effort and consistency in his zone. Sometimes he's just not trying hard enough. When he is trying though, he's pretty good, and I think last year I saw a couple of games and I didn't find that it was a problem defensively. He was playing pretty well, so maybe he just after losing so many games, he just stopped trying defensively. One thing with the OHL, it's a league that a lot of goals are getting scored. I think might be one of the worst league defensively in all junior hockey, and this is a little bit part of the problem. Since most teams don't really have strong defensive system, you're kind of getting rewarded when you cheat and you try to counter attack and transition. So because it's such an offensive league, I think it might be easier to fall into the trap of stopping playing defensively and just being focused 100% on offense. So this is part of the problem with Jacob Perreault. He's gonna try to balance that and give more effort in his zone, and hopefully his dad's gonna be able to teach him a thing or two, because he was a very good defensive player. And the last bad thing I'm gonna say is that he's an elite skater, one of the best skater in this draft, but the thing is, it's rare that you see him using that top gear, that top speed. So he's kind of wasting his skating ability, in my opinion. He could be looking to maximize it more and skate harder. So it comes down also to the intensity level, maybe shorten the shift or just put more effort out there. This is a good example of cheating in your zone. So he's getting cut late in the third period, 1-goal game. He looks extremely tired out there, but all of a sudden the puck goes on the other side and suddenly he's blazing fast. I mean, either he was not giving 100% in his zone, or I don't know what's going on yet, but he should go for a change. A 1-goal game, you have to play the scoreboard sometime, and if the puck comes back into his zone, he's gonna be absolutely done. But like I said earlier, when he turned the switch on, he's actually able to play good defense. So it's not really a matter of poor hockey IQ, bad decision all over the place. It's more mentally, he's gonna need to focus more on the defensive side of the game. Of course, it would be better if he was more sharp with the little details of the game and better overall defensively, but I don't think it's super big problem. I think it's fixable, and I'm not overly worried about that. This is gonna be it for this episode. So if you like that stuff, please feel free to subscribe. Click on the subscribe button and the little bell if you don't want to miss anything. Also, you can follow me on Twitter. I will be posting a top 100 list in a couple of weeks. For the next video, I'm gonna let you decide this time around. So I'm gonna give you 3 choices. So first one, Noel Gunler. I also have Thomas Bordelot or the Hidden Gem. So write down in the comment below either of those 3 choices. If it's the Hidden Gem, just write down Hidden Gem. I already have the player in mind. So see you on the next episode. Bye.